Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me again today for another session of Me Programming Daily. What I wanted to show you today is a little bit of progress that I made off camera. I got a little bit of time, and look, now we can have forks in silhouette diagrams and they all parse. So very happy with that. I also made some cosmetic changes to our bash prompt, and I made some changes around the Docker file so that now finally the Cabal executables work. I had a little bit of a problem with installing hindent and finally figured out that if I install it like so, I can also move happy to the next line. If I install it like so, it works without any problems. So it took a little bit of experimentation, parts of which I'm not super proud of, like this Cabal or setup Cabal shell script. But my container works again, and Alex, Happy, hlint, hindent are installed, so I'm not complaining. I'll leave it like this for now. So now back to the parser. Now you can see all forks or all types of forks and configurations are now done. The input for this diagram looks like so, which is not too bad, I would think. So the plan for today, because it's Friday, I think I'll just make this session very relaxed and just cleanup focused. But before we do, I hope you're having a great day. I just got myself a cup of coffee. It's not super hot anymore, but I'll take it. One thing that I wanted to try is, you see, in the parser, we get these action token and solo identifier token, but an action, see, if we look at the input, some actions don't really need an identifier, or forks even. We only need identifiers if we're going to point at them. So for example, action 2 does not need an identifier because nothing points at it, but fork 3 needs an identifier because its right-hand side branch points at it. So I'm curious to experiment if we can modify the lexer, because we'll be working on it today anyway, to detect an action whether or not an ID is present. Let's see if that works. But for now, I would like to remove some of our tokens that will no longer be used. Left branch, right branch, we don't need that anymore. Our lexer got substantially simpler. Let's build it. There are some conflicts though. If we were to pay attention here, shift reduce conflicts 4. Let's see. I'm going to look into what it exactly means and if we can resolve this problem. I'm not sure if this even is a problem, but we're using all terminals now, so that makes me very happy. Elixir still builds. Still works. This is great. Now, let's experiment a little bit. We have a solo identifier. I'm very curious if this is going to work. It does build. It does run. Now, let's experiment. So say we have an action. This should still be parsed, tokenized as an action token. It looks like it worked. Wow. So I wonder. This got removed because the code that is executed in the parser that tries to extract action ID stopped working. But I believe there should be a to action somewhere. To action, oh yeah, it's here. I formatted it incorrectly. So let's see, to action. So the Lexer change was trivial. It was very, very simple. We no longer need IDs. But because this is Haskell code, I'm probably free to do a little bit of experimentation. So since I know there is no ID here, so I can come up with a placeholder ID. Something like a hash symbol. So for obvious reasons, I can only have one of them in the input. And let's see if this works right away. Oh, it should be this. Sorry. It does. So let's now enable troubleshooting mode, constants. And if everything works fine, this should become the ID of this should become just hash. Yes. So if I try to pull it off with some other action to which nothing points, this will probably cause problems. For is also a hash. Well, maybe it won't. It will not be correct, but let's see if we can do this. No, I can't because this is just a hash. That's 4. That's a hash. Okay. And 2. All right. Everything is fine. All right. So what I'm tempted to do right now is to, first of all, disable the troubleshooting mode. Did we have anything else to do in the issues? So we are just getting rid of a lot of this code. Beautiful. This is not needed. This is not needed either, I think. So by simplifying the parser, we managed to melt away a lot of code and keep the parser, sorry, the SkewerBlock under 400 lines of code. So let's see if we can parse something like this. This is correct. Oh, this is interesting. So here's an issue we can correct. And let's see if this works with an empty branch. It looks correct. Okay, so this is probably going to be my first fix of the day. the width of the skewer should depend on the loopback. Fork. So we're ignoring this. If null r or let's do this. What's up with this indentation? There's no loopback, then 0. If there's something, it should be 1. So this should shift to the right now. Does second skewer block? Sorry, second skewer. It does. It shifts by a lot, but I don't really mind. Okay, let's see. My own main. 1D parsing, okay. The reason I'm commenting is I want to see how this looks like formatted. And now, did that work? Looks like it did. Because it's a cleanup Friday, let's get rid of some of these warnings. Lovely. We don't need this. We still have a number of small and large fixes before we move on to anything more substantial. Oh, lovely. This worked. And that's something more substantial is something that I've been meaning to do for a while now. I started doing it months ago, but eventually I dropped it because I wasn't sure how the types are going to pan out. But now I know, and it is these points. And not necessarily in this function, but in how we represent skewer blocks. See this data skewer block? It doesn't really need to have the point. I mean, it doesn't initially need that point. If you look at the functions used by the parser, for example, do action, we're using these dummy points and they're just bloating the code. We don't need that. So we could probably use a type called like a floating skewer block. I'll show you what I mean. So it's a skewer block that it's not positioned yet. So floating skewer block will just have something like this, and it should be much easier to work with if we don't know the positions of the skewer blocks in the diagram yet. Something like this. But I'll get to this at some later stage. Today we still have a little bit of time to address other issues, so maybe let's dive into this one. Empty no, red branch does not work correctly. Yes. Maybe let's address this now. So we have a test where the branch is empty, but it only has redirection. Let's see what we render if we don't have redirection at all. And I believe this is going to work. What I should have written in that issue here is that empty no right branch needs to be empty, and also the left-hand side branch needs to be empty. And then we would render something really outlandish. Let's refresh. Yeah, this is not working correctly. So let's modify the issue. Let's see if we can look into it. So we need to render a fork. Render fork. Render text. Detour. No, we're interested in this. If detour is nothing, that will be our 3 points. 1, 2, 3. So let's do minus 0, 1 plus 0, 2. And that should skew the that last line. Oh, look at this. So we're making something really seriously wrong here. So let's see what happens if we have something on the left-hand side. If we have something, that's fine. But if we don't, we have 2 lines to be fixed. This stop line, it shouldn't be that long. Let's see where this RY is defined. Here. Let's try to use LY. It should be the same thing, shouldn't it? Yeah. This is for a detour. I would like to know where we render the contents of the fork, where we render the left. Oh, here. Render left branch. Let's do a quick hack here. If null left, then 0 else. Let's see if this works. Okay, so this works. Let's quickly check what happens if we return that or restore that. Yeah, that is fine. So we can go back here and do this. And now we need to figure out this guy. It will be here. So now this point should be shifted to the right, I think. Oh, we're drawing from here. Okay, that's intuitive. Oh, no, sorry. We are drawing from the right. Yeah, I'm just half asleep today. So let's remove this. Okay, and now we need to fix it. Oh, but the condition will be the same. Oh no, I can't do that. Oh, maybe I can. This shouldn't change now. Okay, so I can finally remove this. Beautiful. And then, but let's restore this. Let's see what happens. Great. Let's restore this. See what happens. This should be wider now. Great. Let's restore this block. Maybe we can tweak it a little bit within units. Let's not worry too much about it. So this resolves this issue, and maybe, let's see, to content. We still have a little bit of time. This is sensitive to the number of spaces between the ID and the content string. Let's see if we still use to content. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Words is fine. Oh, but we can't use words. So here we just have to trim. Strip. Let's see. Need to use data text. This is how we do it, yeah. Overloaded strings. Oh, yes. And now here. And now let's do this. But if I do that, so now I have to strip it. Let's just make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, there's a space here. So we need to do strip. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's enough for today. And I think that's enough for today. Thanks very much for your attention today. And next week, we'll probably be focusing on removing those originates from, or origin coordinates from SkewerBlocks, but that's going to be a bigger refactoring. Right, I feel like I've made very good progress this week, and hopefully we can repeat the same thing next week. Take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy some time with your family, friends, and your loved ones. I'll see you next time.